think that's good? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Of course. My pleasure.
So we want to ask about your relationships to Beeks. We want to know, why don't you start with how you met Beeks?
Right. Well, it started a few years ago now. We met in the Chabad tent. It was freshman weekend, Beeks' freshman year. He came in bright-eyed, curious about the world. Needless to say, that all took a turn.
My relationship to Beeks at this point in time is, I would say, neighbor. I met Beeks, like a lot of my other peers, at a JSA event put on by the Jewish Student Association. It must have been about a year or two ago now. I remember introducing ourselves to one another. There was a funny connection we had over our names both being Zach. Of course, this was before he switched to Beeks. And, we just hit it off, schmoozing about politics and whatnot. He had a lot to say in that domain, and he was an interesting fellow to talk to. I'll always remember the cadence in his voice in those early days.
Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Ephraim Weiss, your co-star in the Yosef film? Can you speak a little bit about how he's been effective?
It's funny. Ephraim and I actually met via Yosef Weiss, who of course is the source material for the acclaimed Yosef, right? The one who the film is based upon. I had the opportunity to spend a great deal of time with Yosef in the capacity of research for that role. And, Ephraim is an interesting fellow. He's what you would call sort of a Beeks roommate. He's sort of one who lives with Beeks. And, Ephraim enlightened me as much back then as he has in recent months to the reality of this situation, which is that we're not dealing with a normal individual. I mean, of course, there's the mommy incident, there's the minion coup, there's the seizing of power, and of course the riots that we've been talking about. This is not your run-of-the-mill Gabbai, go to Minyan and go to Mincha. This is Beeks Fine we're talking about. You know why they call him Beeks?
No, please.
Neither do I.
There you go. This is a clip. Just clip it on. Right there. Give a little tap.
Zachary Fine and I first met in Israel. It was our gap year, and I was looking for a roommate, and so I was pointed to Zachary Fine. So I texted him. We went out for lunch, and that started this relationship.
How would you define this relationship?
Complicated. Some unrequited feelings.
On both sides?
I hope so. So we are apartment mates. Last year we were roommates in Lean. So we each have our own room, but we share kitchen, living space in FBB.
What's it like sharing those common spaces with Zach? Does he treat them well? Does he treat you well?
It's really comforting, actually. He does treat me well.
Good.
He cares about me.
Okay.
I think.
Hi, my name is Zachary Fine. I'm representing a group of myself, Aaron Olson, and Charney Lesnoy, and I'm here to talk to you about Handlight. So as a student, I know one of the most annoying things in a classroom is when you raise your hand to ask a question, provide a comment, or whatever, and the teacher doesn't see you or doesn't call on you for whatever reason. And after a while, your arm gets tired, you need to put your hand down, or you forget your question, or the class ends, and eventually you don't contribute to the class. And when that happens, information is lost. And when information is lost, really no one wins. So our goal in designing the Handlight is to prevent that.
Thank you. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks so much for sitting down with us today. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Dr. Fowler. Thank you very much for having me today. I was brought in as the resident expert on Arduinos, Arduino code, anything related to Arduinos, I'm your guy. Yeah, so let me explain to y'all a little bit about how the Arduino interface, or IDE, works. So here we have the Arduino board. You can tell it's Arduino due to the infinity symbol on the center of it. So one of the things that's very special about the Arduino board is it's connected, actually over here you can see, to the sourdough breadboard. The sourdough breadboard has a bunch of little dots on it, sometimes some LEDs, and there are wires that connect from the Arduino to the breadboard.
For all the Arduiners out there, what does the name Zach Fine mean to you?
Wow, you're gonna drop a name like that. Yeah, so Zach Fine is like the Abraham of Arduinos. In the Arduino community, he is a prophet. Let me tell you a story. So for centuries, since like 1920, the Arduino was a single-use Arduino. There was no such thing as multiple Arduinos. That did not exist. No one could fathom putting two Arduinos together. And then Mr. Zach Fine, familiarly referred to as Beeks, came along and developed the double Arduino.
Our product uses multiple Arduinos and transceivers to have a communicator on the desk of each student so that when they press a button on their desk, it will light up a corresponding LED on the teacher's desk to inform the teacher that the student has something to contribute. Unfortunately, due to the recent COVID-19 outbreak, we were not able to finish our project, and what you see here is really just a prototype of a prototype. Our future design would have multiple buttons for each transmitter unit at a student's desk corresponding to a question, comment, and other. We would also have scaled up the design, building multiple units and having an LED array at the teacher's desk to neatly and clearly show who pressed the button and have all parts in 3D printed casing so it looks nice and fancy.
I don't know if you've ever seen his YouTube video, the highlight. In the highlight, he demonstrates the capability of a double Arduino. And when I say this broke the internet, this absolutely blew all of the Arduiners. All of their minds. Not the Arduiners. It blew their minds. We had also never conceived of Arduinos being used in tandem. Like a tandem bike, but like Arduinos. In his YouTube video, he talks about, he doesn't even know what a breakthrough he had. He talks about the use of the double Arduino connecting them. He then moves into the RF transmitter and the RF receiver. So for those of you who are not familiar, the RF stands for really fun. RF transmitter is the really fun transmitter, and it connects to the RF receiver, the really fun receiver. And I don't know if previously people had even thought of putting the really fun transmitter and really fun receivers, connecting it with the Arduinos. But Zach Fine does the unthinkable, and he does it. And you can just look at that YouTube video. I believe it's got over 15 million views, mostly by the revered scientific Arduino community. And he showed the capability of the double Arduino with the RF, really fun, transmitter, with the RF receiver in his highlight. And we are all eternally grateful for Zach Fine and his contributions to the Arduino community. Thank you, Zach Fine.
In an alternate world, what would have gone differently if COVID-19 had never happened and Zach was able to make a real prototype or possibly even a real design?
Sometimes I dream at night about what could have happened if COVID-19 didn't, if not ruin the world, ruin Zach Fine's project. I was devastated by this interruption of scientific discovery. Where do I think it could have gone? Wow, the possibilities are endless, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm sure by now we would have had, I mean, I think just the next logical jump is teleportation comes to mind as something that just, I think is just the logical next step after the double Arduino RF transmitter, RF receiver. That sort of scientific knowledge breaks universes. Intergalactic travel, like I'm so sure we could all right now be living underwater. The opportunities are really endless, as the famous Carl Sagan once said. With the RF transmitter comes teleportation. And I think that saying just says it all. I wish we didn't have COVID. I mean, it's sad to think about. I mean, it's really sad to think about all of the horrors that happened. The fact that no one got to see that prototype. He was so close. As he says in the video, quote, Mr. Zach, this is just a prototype of a prototype. He knew what he was getting himself into, and he wasn't afraid. The Robin to his Batman, Ephraim Weiss, confided in me and said, Zach Fine is the next Stephen Hawking. With or without that wheelchair, he will do greatness, and I believe in that.
I think you could speak a little bit to Beeks' minion persona. Can you speak a little bit about that?
The minion persona is something that I don't think I had realized was so prevalent until, well, frankly, until it was too late. I thought, Beeks is Beeks. And, at the end of the day, we're all trying to do our best. And I apologize if it's not easy to speak about, but we're all trying to put something together in a certain sense. And there are certain particularities in that when you start to get into the specifics of things that, well, I mean, anybody who knows Beeks knows about the Beeks minion persona.
Beeks has changed a lot since he started his time here. In the beginning, he would always say things like, hi, what's your name? Hi, how are you? Have we met? I'm Zach Fine. And now it's just, thanks for coming to Minion. OBM's tonight. It's sad to see, really, the degradation of this man's mental facilities. Can you talk a little bit about Beeks' attempt to grab more power within the community?
Oh, I don't know if I'd call it grabbing more power. I would use much more aggressive language. I would say he was trying to seize control. I don't take this matter lightly. I think, well, I alluded to earlier that I only realized when it was too late. But Beeks has been likened to many a military mastermind. He grabs the power for himself and he holds it, and that manifests itself in a number of ways. Beeks wants to control the media. Unmitigated, we're looking at a disaster of propaganda, a disaster of authoritarianism.
Many have categorized the downfall of Beeks as, and I quote here one scholar, catastrophic. Would you agree with that assessment, or do you think it's too strong?
Catastrophic is. I'm going to be fair to Beeks. He was my friend once. I would say difficult, challenging, but not insurmountable.
Beeks must have meant a great deal to you.
He did. One of my greatest friends turned greatest enemy. Do you mind talking a little bit about the coalition you've been building, the anti-Beeks coalition that you've been spearheading?
Yeah, the ABC sort of piped its head above the water for the first time, I would say maybe 3 to 5 months ago. And it was above all reactionary in nature. We were trying to sort of repair the things that had already been set in motion. Um, you clearly have, an interest in the Beeks grab and hold power struggle mechanics, and well, initially a lot of our work was just in outreach and spreading information to the community, spreading awareness, getting word out there about Beeks, right? And an uninformed public is an unadorned public, they say, and well, warn about the dangers of Beeks and allowing him to be as he is. Um, I personally donate 20% of my income to the ABC, and that is how dedicated I am to this cause. The Anti Beeks Coalition is springing up from the bottom. This is a grassroots led organization, and I'm immensely proud of the work that we've been able to accomplish. I would say I came to be part of the Wash U community and story, sort of like a snowflake comes to be part of a snowman, right? Slowly and through crafted effort. I met Beeks a couple of years ago. There were certain circumstances and details to how we met. And there are certain dynamics between the two of us that we have a certain relationship of a certain type.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Obviously, Beeks has a controversial history. What do you make of his recent role as Gabbai?
His recent role as Gabbai has served pretty well. He gets a lot of criticism that's fair, and he gets some criticism that's not fair, but the criticism he gets for Gabbai, I think, not so fair. He does a good job of that part of his stuff.
So tell me a little bit about your perspective on Zach Halfand, who's a known critic of Beeks.
I've read about Zach Halfand. I have not had the pleasure of meeting him in person. From what I understand, he was an upstanding citizen. There were some unduly accusations made towards him. I will say this. I have not ever knowingly disseminated false information about a fellow Minion member. I'll look into the camera for this. I, Zach Halfand, did not disseminate deepfake videos of Beeks saying the things that they allegedly said in those videos.
I, Zachary Fine, endorse Yafne to take over the Wash U Jewish community.
Frankly, sir, I haven't even seen those videos.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your honesty.
I know about them, but I haven't seen them.
So people might be wondering, you and Zach actually have similar last names. Just want to clear the air.
There's a common misconception about that. His name, again, to the best of my understanding from my readings, is Helfand, derived from the Polish-Russian Gelfand, which is a popular name around the 18th century in Eastern Europe. My name is Helfand, derived from the Swedish Helfand, of Scandinavian origin.
So as a member of the ABC, some people might be wondering how you've never met Zach, as he's the head of the ABC.
Well, as I said, we've never met in person. We Skyped once, and it was a good conversation. I would say two things. One, it's like they always say, right? A dog doesn't handle carbohydrates. I'm a member of the ABC, but I tend to zoom in. I tend to handle more logistics behind the scenes. To the best of my understanding, Zach Helfand, I've read a bit about him, handles more of the day-to-day upfront things. Not all of us can be a pretty face like that in the spotlight. And the second thing I'll say is I've never met Zach Helfand in person.
People often credit you with the nickname Beeks.
Yes.
Can you tell a little bit about that experience?
Feels like years ago at this point. I don't really remember much. I remember sitting on a couch. I remember a lot of nicknames were thrown out, but none had the same ring to them as Beeks did. And from that moment forward, he wasn't Zach Fine. He was Beeks.
Many people associate the monster with this persona that is created. Do you think, truly deep down, that's the real Zach Fine? Or has Beeks taken over?
It's a tough question. I mean, to believe that Beeks has taken over would mean to believe that I had something to do with that. And if that were true, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I have to believe that the monster existed way before the Beeks was a thing. Maybe I'm naive for thinking that, but that's just what I think.
Tell me a little bit about your face replacement surgery to hide your identity.
I mean, witness protection, it can only do so much to protect me. Beeks is he's a psychopath, and no matter how far I'd run away, there's always the fear that Beeks will come and he'll find me and he'll hurt me or my wife or my children, and the thought of that is just horrifying. I have a number of Beeks related nightmares, but there's one that shows up more than the rest of them. In this dream, I'm running, and Beeks is chasing me. And no matter how fast I run, he's always faster. No matter how much I try to escape him, I never can. And just as he gets to me, I wake up from the nightmare, but I realize it's all okay because I have a new face now, and Beeks will never find me.
Can you tell me a little bit about the starts, the prehistory of the November Beak riots?
Yes, certainly. Tensions had been building for quite a while. There was at least a 3-week period, according to most estimations, of sort of run up to the actual inciting incident, as you know. Once news got out that they had taken Northmore, it was pandemonium in the press, in the police force, everywhere. Everyone at that point, I would say, began looking out only for their own self-interest. And I really think that's where the fall of Beeks began. I would say it was there in Northmore when his closest comrades left him. And, well, frankly, the short-term success of the riots in Northmore and, of course, elsewhere pales in comparison to the immense cost that it had on Beeks, which, of course, wound up being easing of a burden on society. But of course, in Beeks's mind, it's like he always says, there is no monster unborn which cannot harm thee. So I would say that.
You were notably not at the November riots.
That's true. That's true. I was not present at the November riots. I was at an appointment. I was at a very important appointment when that was happening. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be present. My appointment was very important, and I was at my appointment, and so I wasn't able to be at the riots. But I read a great deal about them, and I consider myself knowledgeable enough, informed enough about the situation to speak on certain aspects.
Right. People who are supporters of Beeks have been claiming that the ABC has been inflating its numbers, perhaps having alt accounts on social media, for example. Do you have any response to that?
Grow up. Grow up. What organization isn't inflating its numbers with a couple of goosed up burners out there, huh? I deny categorically that we do it, but who doesn't do it?
This might be a little sensitive, but people have actually been saying you, Dan Halpern, are actually an alt account of Zach Halpern.
I appreciate that you're bringing that up. Like I said, a lot of my work with the ABC is done behind the scenes, away from the limelight. The reason I came and did this tour and this press junket, as you know well, I don't do a lot of press appearances. I keep my work behind the scenes typically. I I get a lot of stage fright. I get nervous in front of cameras. As you can see right now, my hand is shaking. I'm very nervous. But I wanted to clear the air. I have had certain accusers. I've gotten certain hate mail from certain individuals. And I just need to clear the air, right? I'm Dan Helfand. I come from a prominent Swedish aristocratic family. And I just care a lot about the ABC cause. And I want to spread Beeks awareness, you know? There's a lot of ugliness that has been added to the world. And, well, I've read a lot about his downfall.
What do you think the motive might be in the mind of these conspiracy theorists for why Zach might create an alter ego?
Libel, envy, lust. It's an attempt to besmirch his good name. Mr. Helfand, the other Mr. Helfand, of course, that is a leader. He's an invaluable member of the ABC community. And when he founded the ABC, he had the goal in mind of ridding the world of Beeksdom. And he's done a lot in that regard.
A few months ago, you were on record as denying that Beaksgate had ever happened. Recently, you walked.
Yep. You kidding me? Are you guys kidding me? You said you wouldn't ask about that. I said it very explicitly in my contract. Don't ask about Beaksgate. This is fucking ridiculous. I called my manager. That bitch mother ever.
Calm down.
Your manager said not to hard.
Calm down.
I'm out of here. I'm out. I'm gonna sue. Tell me a little bit about what was going through your mind as you gave the keynote address at the Northmore protest before the November Beeks riots.
I'll be honest with you, and this is something that I don't believe I included in my official statement to the press. Of course, it's on record in the police report and in various other sources that are slowly coming out more. When I was there in Northmore giving my remarks, I honestly kept thinking to myself, I'm about to die. I thought, this is it. This is my final chance to warn the world, to warn everyone around me about the dangers. Of course, this was in the early days of the ABC. Frankly, it's a miracle that I'm here talking to you today. I sustained a number of minor scratches on my elbow here and my forearm here, which I've been advised by my press team not to disclose, but I'm a survivor.
You guys seem to share sort of a kinship over your elbow and forearm injuries.
Yes, I suppose so.
Right. There's well-documented X, formerly Twitter comments.
X, formerly Twitter.
Between the two of you, discussing the serious nature of such injuries.
To the best of my understanding, Mr. Helfand sustained certain scratches on certain elbows and forearms during the riots. If nothing else, that's just telling of the gruesome reality that we live in with the Beeks situation prior to the downfall. And the backlash that Mr. Helfand has come under, the scrutiny that he's come under after all of those things, victim shaming, things like that, is just wrong. I mean, we're talking about someone who sustained minor injuries to his arm and his elbow. That's not a joke. I sustained several minor scratches to my left forearm and my right elbow, as you can see here. I'll show the camera. Yeah, right around there. It's mostly healed now, but I was scratched by multiple individuals within the hour that the riot broke out. We find ourselves at an impasse. We have two choices at this crucial crossroads in the process. What hangs in the balance is the very safety and security of our democracy. I thought that I was going to die that day. Let that sink in for a moment. I'm there being asked to speak, and I think I'm going to die. I sustained several minor scratches to my left forearm and my right elbow. I was scratched multiple times. After the riots, in the immediate days that followed, I reached out to Beeks' camp, I reached out to legal, and there were total denials of the injustice done to me. That was where the idea of the ABC was born. I did not get the financial compensation that I was entitled to. I thought I was going to die.
You've been notoriously critical of Beeks and his role in
I wouldn't say critical, I would say I've been notoriously honest.
Sure, you've been notoriously honest
Yes.
about Beeks' role in the November Beeks riots and the keynote address in the Northmore protest immediately preceding.
Well, you can call it what it is, a massacre.
Describe how Beeks and his camp played a role in the incitement of violence.
Well, certainly there are certain matters that, for legal purposes, I can't touch upon in this context. But I will say this. I saw Beeks. He looked directly at me, and this was at 5:49 p.m. on that Sunday. And he said to me, "Nothing you do here can stop the wave that is coming. Nothing you do here can stop the wave that is coming." Now, let that sink in for a second, because I don't think I understood the full implications of that right then. I thought, this is Beeks we're talking about, this is a scare tactic. I, along with you, believed in, right, the Beeks eventuality hypothesis. As we know, that was proven indelibly wrong. And, well, what we're left with is a damaged world, to say the least. For as long as there's been Beeks, there have been people trying to fight for and against him. I find myself just trying to be on the right side of history. The downfall of Beeks, of course, is well recorded. We know that he fell first on his left knee and then on his hands to break the fall. What I'm worried about is the consequences, both intended and unintended. I'm worried about a lot of things. I'm worried about a lot of things.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again.
Stand here.
I'm looking forward to completing your training. In time, you will call me master.
Only a master of evil darts. Activate. Cut to the left shoulder, down to the leg, and duck. Back to the same leg. Side. Cut to the head. Excellent.
Hi, my name is Zachary Fine. I am doing the Ice Water Challenge in memory of Dr. Jonathan Borchafter to raise awareness of ALS. I challenge the Cobbies and Alex Reese. You have 24 hours to do the challenge. Good luck.
Go. Burma at Home has allowed me to connect with my friends and teachers despite the fact I'm not seeing them in person.
Thank you so much to all of our staff and teachers for making this difficult time a lot easier.
Despite the fact that we're in the middle of a crisis, we feel so connected to the incredible teachers and students in our community.
Thank you so much to my teachers.
Okay, go ahead.
Happy Mother's Day, Mommy.
Anything else you want to tell Mommy? How do you feel about Mommy? Do you love her a lot?
Yes.
What's the favorite thing that Mommy does for you?
Well, The favorite thing that mommy does for me, I'm guessing, is loves me.
Yeah.